All right, let's talk about something that so many of us feel but almost nobody wants to admit. That heavy, sinking feeling of worthlessness. You know the one. It's that voice inside that says you just don't measure up. Today, we're going to break that voice down, get to the bottom of where it comes from, and most importantly, talk about what we can actually do about it. Okay, let's just sit with this for a second. And you can just feel how raw and painful this is. These words are just heavy. This isn't just someone having a bad day, right? This is a deep, profound sense of self-rejection. And sadly, I think a lot of people know exactly what this feels like.
So where does a voice like that even come from? It's not like it just appears out of thin air. In this first part, we're going to look at the patterns and the symptoms that often surround these really intense feelings of despair.
See, that feeling of being a loser or a burden, it often walks hand in hand with the clinical signs of depression. It's part of a much bigger picture. We're talking about intense self-loathing, losing interest in things you used to love, feeling totally drained all the time. These are all clues that this is so much more than a bad mood. It's a serious condition that changes the way you think, feel, and even move through the world.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of it. What's the engine that's actually driving these feelings? It's time to open up what we'll call the inner critic's playbook and see the exact tactics it uses to keep us convinced that we're worthless.
Now this right here, this is a really, really important distinction. The word worthless isn't actually a feeling, it's a judgment. It's a thought, a story that we tell ourselves. And that story, that judgment is the trigger for all those painful emotions, the sadness, the shame, the fear. Realizing this is huge because you can't really argue with a feeling, but you can argue with a thought.
And this pattern of making judgments has a name. Psychologists call it our explanatory style. Just think of it like your brain's default setting for making sense of things, especially when things go wrong. It's the automatic story you tell yourself when you succeed and, more importantly, when you fail.
And this table just brilliantly lays out how that inner critic works. It uses a pessimistic style built on what some call the 3 Ps. First, it makes bad things feel permanent. I'll always be alone. Second, it makes them pervasive. I failed this one test, which means I'm a failure at everything. And for the final punch, it makes it personal. It's all my fault. That's the trap that keeps us stuck.
But here's the really good news. You don't have to just accept this playbook. You don't have to believe that voice. In this next section, we're going to get practical and talk about a toolkit you can use to start arguing back. Let this one sink in because it's so empowering. Your thoughts are not facts. They're just suggestions. That's all they are. And frankly, some of them are really, really bad suggestions. The amazing thing is, we can learn the skill of questioning them, challenging them, and ultimately changing our own minds.
So how do we actually do it? Well, one of the most powerful tools out there is this, the ABCD model. It sounds a little academic, but it's super simple. First, there's adversity. Something bad happens. Immediately, your belief kicks in, that automatic negative thought. That leads to the consequence. You feel awful. But here's the game changer. D is for disputation. This is where you actively argue back. You become a detective for your own thoughts, looking for evidence that they're not true. And when you do that, you get to E for energization. That's the relief, the new energy you feel when you've broken the spell.
Okay, so arguing with our thoughts, that's like putting out little fires. It's crucial. But how do we build a life that's just more fireproof to begin with? Let's zoom out a bit. In this part, we're going to talk about finding your internal compass.
And that compass has a name. Purpose. Now, purpose isn't just about a goal, like getting a promotion. It's so much bigger. It's your central reason, your overarching why. It's the thing that organizes everything else you do and gives it all a sense of meaning.
I love this analogy. A goal is a destination you can reach. It's a point on the map. You climb the mountain, and then you're done. But purpose is the compass. The compass is always there, always giving you direction, no matter what mountain you're climbing. A goal is one spot on the map. Purpose is the whole map itself.
And this isn't just some feel-good idea. The science on this is absolutely clear. People who have a strong sense of purpose report greater life satisfaction, they have better mental and physical health, they're more resilient when things get tough, and believe it or not, they actually tend to live longer. Purpose is a powerful, powerful anchor in the storm of life.
And that brings us to our final and maybe the most fundamental idea of all. We've talked about tools and mindsets, but now we're going to go deeper and challenge the core belief of the inner critic itself. This whole idea that our worth is something we have to earn in the first place.
The researcher Brené Brown puts it so perfectly. She calls perfectionism a 20-ton shield. We carry it around thinking if we can just be perfect, if we never mess up, then we can avoid getting blamed or judged, but it's really just the ultimate expression of conditional worth. That broken idea that our value as a person depends on what we do or what other people think of us.
So let me ask you, how many achievements does it take to finally be worthy? How many promotions? How many followers? How much money in the bank? The real answer is 0. Nothing. There is no test you can pass, no finish line you can cross that will suddenly grant you worth.
And this is the simple, radical truth I hope you take away today. Your worth is not conditional. It's not something you earn when you're good and lose when you're bad. It's inherent. It's your birthright. You have it just because you exist. It's the one thing that can never, ever be taken away from you, no matter what.
So we'll leave you with this to think about. If you truly believed, deep down in your bones, that your fundamental worth was solid, secure, and completely non-negotiable, what would you finally give yourself permission to do? What would you have the courage to try? What kind of life would you dare to build?